Hi, it's Matt from Go Green Autos. So here we have an electric van for sale. This is a Renault Kangoo, obviously. It's a phase 1 medium wheelbase, and this has got the 22 kilowatt hour battery pack that sits there under the floor. And this battery is currently leased, so you pay a monthly fee from £25 plus VAT a month and to rent that battery, and they guarantee it to 66% state of health, and you also get breakdown cover included. So I say currently leased because coming shortly is the option to buy these battery packs. So RCI are currently allowing customers of Renault ZE22 kilowatt hours to buy their packs, and then they're going to roll the scheme out to the rest of the range. So they'll be doing the Kangoos, the Zoe ZE40s and the Twizzes. So at some point soon, some point this year, I'd imagine within the next 6 months probably, you have the option, you could buy this battery pack if you wanted to buy it and do away with the battery lease. So the crucial thing anyone's going to want to know is the state of the battery, and this one is quite remarkable. I scanned the battery pack yesterday and it is still at 100% state of health. So a good argument on this van would be to buy the battery, because it's never going to degrade enough to be claiming under that warranty, and you might as well own the battery pack. So let's show you in the cargo area. This one's got the solid rear doors obviously, and it has got the open cage bulkhead, so that opens up and you can lay the passenger seat flat, which I'll show you in a minute, and it's ply lined obviously. So with these you can pull that lever there, lift up the seat base, and then drop the passenger seat down flat, and then open up the cage, and that locks down there, and then it allows you to store or to carry long items. So the only disadvantage of having the cage bulkhead versus the solid bulkhead is the heating. So electric vans, you've obviously got to generate heat. That uses a huge amount of energy, and in the winter when you're heating the cabin, you're also going to be heating all of the cargo area. So it's a good idea with the cage bulkhead to cover this with some sort of covering foam material, even carpet or anything. Just tie wrap something to it, so it still allows you to use the door system, but at least then when you're heating the cabin, you're not heating the whole cargo area, and it does save quite a bit of energy. While I'm here, I'll show you the charge cable. This is standard type 1 to type 2. Type 1 goes into the front of the van, which I'll show you in a minute. Type 2 is what all chargers are. Public chargers or home or workplace chargers always have type 2 sockets. So this van charges at 3.5 kilowatt AC. It doesn't have DC rapid charging, so these Kangoo vans are no good for the long distance driving. So typically you would charge overnight and it will always be ready by the morning, or you do top-ups throughout the day when you're not using the vans. You know, for example, when you come back at lunch, you can put it on to charge and it will probably return to 100% or near 100% anyway. So I can also supply a portable charger. That's often called a granny cable, and that allows you to charge the van on a normal 3-pin main socket. So I do a free loan of those, so you've got to buy the cable with the van, and then you can keep that until your wall charger is installed, and then if you no longer want that granny cable, you can return it to me and I'll give you 100% refund, hence why I say it's a free loan. Many people end up keeping them though, because they're very handy things to have. Particularly if you're on site during the day, it means you can top up your van whenever you're not using it, and that's when electric vehicles really work. And everywhere's got mains, obviously 240 volt mains, so you can charge your van, get a top up when you're not using the van, when you're out on site during the day. And then at the front, here's your charging socket, and 3.5 kilowatt type 1, as I said, AC only. So the purpose of these videos primarily is to show you the condition, and if you've seen my videos before, you'll know I point out every little stone chip mark or scratch or any negative I can find. I don't hide anything, there's absolutely no point, and then that gives people the confidence to buy the vehicle without coming to view it first, and then I deliver it to you. So let's start at the front. This one is in really nice condition, particularly for a van of this age, but there's a few things I need to point out. Firstly, hardly need to point this out really, but anyway, at some point something has splattered over the plastic on the front, and there's lighter marks in the bumper, but you know, as you can see, it's pretty smart, but I'll point it out anyway. There was a little chip here somewhere, and I have dabbed a bit of white paint in there, but really minor. Don't really need to point stuff out at that detail, but anyway, there's a bit of scuffing on this wheel trim and scuffing here. These wheel trims are unique to the electric van, and they do protrude rather, and on the near side they always get hit by the curbs when you're parking, but it's just a plastic wheel trim. There is a crack here in the back of the mirror cap, but the mirrors all still work and fold and electrically adjust, so nothing wrong there. I would just say, because this is a phase one, they have painted mirrors as well, whereas the later ones just have black plastic mirrors. But yeah, mirrors in really nice condition. Down this side there's just two dents. There's a dent there in the door crease, and there's another one there. That's about it as far as dents go. There's a couple of little places where there's a few little nicks from the paint, out of the paint, which I've dabbed a little white paint in. That's because previously it had been sign written, as most vans are, and when the sign written gets removed they tend to nick the paint in a few places. So I just saw one there, there's a little one there which I dabbed a bit of paint in, and there's one up there somewhere there. Oh, I did see another dent, there's another little dent there. But all the information, all these pictures are on the website, so you can go to the photo gallery and you can have a detailed look at anything I'm pointing out. There's a bit of minor scratching on that wheel trim, but you know, it's nothing really. There was a mark here somewhere, but I cannot see it now. It's so small I hardly need to show you. No, I can't see it, it's completely gone. Looking round the back, what do I need to show you around the back? There's a dent there, very small. The back's in really nice condition actually. Normally back doors get more dented where they slam the wrong door first. And then on the inside, which I've shown you already, but the ply's a little bit grubby, but you know, it's been used, so it's exactly what you'd expect. It's got the tool kit, you've got a full-size spare tyre underneath. The tyre tread depth's all on the website as well, but these tyres are all pretty much nearly new. There's a bit of scuffing on the bumper where stuff gets loaded in, but you know, it's all better than average. And then continuing round, this side is really tidy. Wheel trims are good. There's a little dent there, a tiny little one there, and a little mark there in the paint. But no, this side, I think that's a new wheel trim as well, I put on a while ago. Yeah, this side is really tidy. So the other thing I need to point out, obviously this van was sign written at some point, as are most vans, and you can still see evidence of the old sign writing in the paintwork, because obviously paint underneath the vinyl lettering doesn't fade, whereas your exposed paint does. And in certain lights you can see it more than others. At the moment I cannot see it down there. I don't know whether the camera's picking it up, but you can see evidence of the old sign writing down here. I can slightly see it here. I have polished all of the sides to see if I could polish it out, but you know, it's impossible really. I'm not sure whether it was along the back. I think it was, but it's just not visible at all at the moment. And then it's along here. I can see this in this light. Not too bad, but when it's bright and sunny and the sunlight's directly on it, it does stand out a lot more. But as I said, you're going to get that with any van that has been previously sign written, and most vans have been at some point in their life. There is some minor scratching on the top of this door. You get that on all Kangoos, and that's simply because the doors get slammed in the wrong order. So if that door gets shut and that one gets slammed on top of it, then they clash at the top there and the latch hits this door. So it's something that gets done a few times at least in every Kangoo. And there is a slight indentation here, but very minor. They're normally much worse because it is an issue on all Kangoos. And then looking on the inside, the only thing I need to point out is there is some cigarette burns in this seat. There's a sort of bigger hole there, very minor one there, and a couple of minor ones there. Oh, there's one there as well. However, I don't smoke and I can't stand the smell of smoke in vehicles, but this vehicle has absolutely no smell whatsoever. I would certainly point it out and I would smell it if there was, but there is no evidence of it being smoked in apart from these holes in the seat. So it was clearly done a very, very long time ago. I've got new carpet mats in there, and it's all really tidy. You know, vans of this age don't have door handles and door cards as good as this. This clearly has been looked after. And then the driver's side, the door card is all good. Normally these handles sort of really start creaking and get loose, but you know, it's not in this case. It is very, very tidy. And this seat is pretty good. There's a bit of staining along there which I've tried to clean. I have wet vacuumed these seats and it's come up a bit better, but it's very minor. There's a tiny little hole there and a couple of little ones there, but for a van of this age these seats are wearing really well. And then I'll just start the van up and we can see there the mileage is 30,614 miles. And then in here we've got radio with a single slot CD. This one has also got air conditioning, which a majority of them don't have, and we've got the radio screen at the top there. Yeah, it's in really good condition. At the moment it's missing the plastic cover to go over the diagnostic port, but I've got that on order and that will be coming from Renault as soon as they resume their parts deliveries. And then we've got two cup holders down here, and then glove box there. The fabric here is a bit grubby. There's quite a few marks up there where clearly stuff has been loaded through, which you normally do get when you've got the folding seat because the space can be used, but above the driver it's much cleaner. So I'll just show you the paperwork. We'll just say this van does have two original keys as well. Here's all the original books. It's missing the little wallet that they come in, but that doesn't matter. And then we've got the logbook here. So this has come from Lex Auto Lease, so it's only had the one owner from new, no previous keepers, and the registration date is 24th of the 6th 2013. I've also had the inverter changed on the motor stack up front because that had a fault when I bought it, so that's been done, which is great. This van is MOT exempt. All electric commercial vehicles of this type that are registered before March 2015 are actually exempt from MOT tests, so there's no legal requirement at all for an MOT test. And then we've got service history printout from the lease company, everything that's been done, and then we've got the original warranty documents, but of course this warranty has expired on this van now, apart from the battery pack of course, because that's currently leased. I'll just start the van up again. So the other thing I'll just point out is you do hear a little bit of a motor whine on this. It's nothing to be alarmed at all, completely normal. All electric vehicles do that, particularly on the Renaults. That tends to start at about 25 to 30,000 miles. This has done 30,000 miles, so it's completely normal. It's not too loud, but if I just drive it here, I'm not sure whether the microphone's even going to pick it up, but you can just hear the electric motor as you're driving along, particularly as you're accelerating, and then when you de-accelerate it generally goes, but they all do that, so nothing to worry about. And while we're just driving around the estate here, the other thing I'll just say is of course everything works as it should do without any fault. So these vans have preconditioning. What that means is you can set a time on the dash that you're going to leave in the morning, and then the heating or air conditioning will come on to precondition the vehicle. So in the winter it will warm the van up and it will melt the ice off the windscreen and off the windows, which is really nice. And what that allows you to do is retain 100% of your range, because the heating does use huge amounts of energy. So while it's still plugged into the charger from the overnight charging, it will get the vehicle ready. So it will warm the vehicle up, melt the ice off the windows, and then when you disconnect, you've still got 100% range, 100% of your battery, and the vehicle's already warm. So maybe you can do your commute or your drive without the heating on at all, or certainly maybe turn down a lot, and that just maximizes your economy in the winter. And then in the summer it does the same, but it cools the vehicle. And this one having air conditioning, obviously it works better than ones without, because it just puts the fans on. But it's all about preserving energy. Heating does use more energy than air conditioning, but air conditioning still does use quite a lot of energy, because the heating system uses power from the traction battery, so it does reduce range, whereas everything else, lights, dash, ECUs, wipers, stereo, that all uses the standard 12 volt battery up front, because EVs still have a standard 12 volt battery, because it's all standard van stuff, it's all standard Kangoo stuff, so everything apart from the electric motor and the heating is all 12 volt. So this one has a flashing beacon mounted on top. There's the switch, and obviously you've got the flashing light up there. It'll be very easy to remove if you don't want it. The wire's there visible, so it'll just be a case of sticking a bung in it and getting some silicone in there to seal it. So all the other information's on the website: tyre tread depths, charging, range, all that sort of stuff. I would just say on the range, obviously because this battery is still at 100% state of health, so it's still like a new battery, you're going to get decent range. It very much depends on driving style and road speeds, but if you're going to be driving in a city and lots of stop-start driving, then you're going to be around the 80-mile mark on one of these. So this van is ready, so if you're interested, then give me a call or email. Let me know your postcode, because I can deliver this anywhere in the country, and it will come to you on a flatbed, and it will be fully charged and ready to use.